Hey everybody, I'm Christopher Green. You're tuning into AMTV Live, alternative media television, hard-hitting and in your face. Thank you for your tremendous support. Please support us. Subscribe alternatively, independently. Click the link below. Start your free 14-day trial. Get all of our content completely commercial and ad-free, and get content you've never before seen on YouTube, of which we're putting out weekly. We have dozens and dozens of videos that you have never seen on YouScrew or FaceCrook, for those of you tuning in. Thank you so much. So this is an unbelievable election. It's absolutely insane. And I just voted, by the way. Trump, Pence, 2016. Actions speak louder than words. And I want to encourage all of you to get out there and vote. You at least, at the very least, have to exercise whatever rights the U.S. government, our Constitution has given us, even if there's problems. Even if this election and the voting is rigged, which it very well might be, with the likes of George Soros owning the voting machines and dead people voting, on and on and on, you still, in my humble opinion, need to exercise your right to vote. And if there's problems later on, then we can address that. The people of America can address that problem. Now, of course, we've had some major bombshells released in the past several days. Huge, damaging leaks on Hillary Clinton. Comey, just a few days ago, which we reported on last week, reopened a can of worms on Hillary Clinton. Reopened an investigation of which before he said there wasn't any criminal intent, even though what she did was illegal and he wasn't going to prosecute. But somehow there's new information that's come to light off of the Wiener laptop, like we're expected to believe this, 650,000 emails on his laptop in between texting and sexting like 14, 15-year-old girls. I mean, this guy is a total pedo, right? He's a total pedophile. They expect us to believe that new information was found. Like they didn't already have the emails on servers, courtesy of the NSA, in Utah, of which they record and data mine every single email that goes back and forth over the next 50 years. That's how large this cloud storage facility actually is. So somehow we're expected to believe that this is new, damaging information that's being leaked. And Comey has now reopened this criminal investigation on Hillary Clinton, which could potentially be very, very dangerous and is very, very harmful and dangerous to her campaign. Now, I went over 5 different possibilities over the weekend, which I thought was a fantastic video. If you haven't watched it, please watch it, like it, favorite it, share it around the world, get it out to news outlets. I thought I had a very unique and critical perspective on why Comey potentially reopened the email investigation. Now, I'm not going to go through every single detail and the minutia of that video. Just watch that video. But I am going to highlight a few of the key points. Possibility number 1 was to save his own ass, right? Potentially, he's worried about being prosecuted if Donald Trump does, by chance, win the presidential race here in 2016. And he's promised to hire a private investigator to prosecute Hillary Clinton, potentially send her into pound-me-in-the-ass prison. It could potentially prosecute him and also send him into federal pound-me-in-the-ass prison. So it could be to save his own ass. Also, there could be defections at the FBI. Rumor mill has been that there's been a lot of very irritated, pissed off people at the FBI, good people at the FBI, that are just so angry that Comey hasn't pressed charges that they're leaking informations and they're helping to leak out the new evidence. So he wanted to get out in front of it to save his own ass. That was possibility number 1. Possibility number 2 is that this is a red herring, which I think is far more likely today than it was even over the weekend. And this is what I'm leaning towards, that I think, and I believe that this is the case. This is why Comey reopened up this investigation, that it's a red herring to cover up and front run Wikileaks' dump, a massive data dump courtesy of Wikileaks, and get ahead of the curve, right? From a public relations perspective, a PR perspective, this is what I would do, for example, if I was working for the criminal cartel that was Hillary Clinton. Of course, I'm not. I think she should be prosecuted and be in pound-me-in-the-ass prison. The first thing I would do was get out in front of damaging information that I knew was about to hit the wire and put her in a very dangerous situation. My advice would be, let's get out in front of this so that we can claim you're being investigated. But of course, and this is very important, all the details of the investigation and the new revelations, the potential damaging information, won't be released and concluded, conveniently, until after the election, which is exactly what's happening. And I warned of this with possibility number 2 over the weekend. That's how they would handle this. And that's why Hillary Clinton was taking it on the chin. She didn't really have a good answer to why people and the American people should trust her, given her speech. It's why they were allowing this to happen. It's why the mainstream media, even the Clinton News Network, was framing this story in a very negative light. Because, of course, they work for Hillary Clinton and her campaign, and they know that this is actually beneficial to her. Even though it's damaging, it's far more beneficial to control the narrative coming that's hitting the news wires and the subsequent damaging information being leaked by third parties such as Wikileaks and others than it is to just allow and play defense on a new data dump and more damaging information, right? And I think we're going to get even more damaging information leading up to November 8th within the next 24 to 48 hours even. So they want to get in ahead of the curve so that they can control and manipulate the narrative to Hillary Clinton's benefit. And it's actually a very good public relations move. And if I was part of her team and camp, it's exactly what I would do, which is why I highlighted it as possibility number 2. And to me, it looks like that's what we have today. Let me reemphasize again. They're not going to release or conclude the details of Hillary Clinton's reopening of this new investigation till after the vote, until after she potentially gets into the White House, which could result, again, in a constitutional crisis, all these problems, et cetera, which I think we very might likely have. I even tweeted out yesterday, please follow me on Twitter. There's a lot of great stuff I'm putting out there, a lot of thoughts that just, are coming out that you don't get here on YouTube or Facebook, et cetera. Putting out a ton of stuff over the weekend where I'm talking about all of this in detail, how and why it is far more likely now, the odds have risen, that Comey, for example, potentially might be the next president of the United States, who's even more radical than Hillary Clinton, by the way. If, in fact, Hillary gets in, the investigation is concluded, she's incriminated, indicted, impeached, just like her husband. I mean, anything these people touch is evil, is absolutely criminal and corrupt. It's an increased likelihood that he actually might be the next president of the United States if she doesn't, in fact, pardon herself when she gets in, which would probably be even more likely. Once she gets in, she'll just pardon herself, right? Or Obama potentially might pardon her if there's some kind of constitutional crisis and she goes down in flames prior to November 8th. All of it a possibility. And this is at a time when about a third, I think if the data is correct, from what I've learned, the country has already voted before the announcement was that Comey was reopening the investigation. Here's what we know, fundamentally, that somebody extremely powerful, very powerful behind the scenes, is pulling and just pulled the puppet string of Hillary Rotten Clinton. It's the only reason they reopened this investigation. And we also know there must be some very damaging information there. Otherwise, why reopen it? Possibility number 3, to raise fear among undecideds, those that are complacent that otherwise wouldn't get out to the polls and the voting booths to vote Hillary Clinton, raise fear that Donald Trump might actually win. Raise the alarm bell so those complacent voters actually bring themselves to the polls and vote the way of Hillary Clinton, increasing her chances of a win. As we're seeing right now, the battleground states, there's about 5 of them, Arizona included, at least they want us to believe. I don't know if I personally believe it. Again, I just voted today, Trump, of course, that Arizona is up for grabs. And all these other states are up for grabs. Just another reason why you guys need to get to the polls. And Hillary Clinton's campaign, and Podesta and all these people, want to ignite potentially those fears to bring the blue, right, the Democrats, to the polls to potentially swing these states the other direction. All a very serious and real possibility to deal with the complacency issue that they know that they're going to need. Now, if you're to believe what CNN's telling us, Donald Trump has to win all the swing states and then pick up a traditional blue state or 2 just to win the Electoral College. They're telling us that it's an uphill battle. I don't know if I necessarily believe that or not, but that's the narrative being pitched by the mainstream media today. Possibility number 4, something so damaging, and it kind of coincides with number 2, the red herring. Something so damaging is coming and about to be leaked on Hillary Clinton, or was found on Weiner's computer. I also tweeted, did a Weiner just bring down Hillary Clinton? Although that seems unlikely because the NSA has already had Hillary's emails all along, of course, with cloud storage, data facilities in Utah through the National Spying Agency, that the FBI has to reopen the case to save face, that they weren't withholding evidence, key evidence, incriminating evidence, criminal evidence prior to the vote. Kind of ties in with possibility number 2. The conclusion, again, somebody extremely powerful has pulled the string of Hillary Rotten Clinton for a reason. And I also threw in a bonus. Well, let me get to possibility 5 first. Possibility 5 is that there's just good people out there. Who cares where the leaks are coming from? Hillary is just, quite frankly, going down in flames. And there's a constitutional crisis. They want her out. The vote in the election stopped. Chaos ensues. This is the most extreme option. Obama declares martial law, presides for a third term, war of some kind, a potential nuke event. I did a video on this. World War III is on the horizon. Please watch. It was released a day or two before Halloween over the weekend. We've been working around the clock. Please check that out. War or some kind of nuke event takes place to brainwash the masses through fear into obeying the outcome of this type of environment where Obama potentially takes over. And there's some kind of severe event that prevents Hillary Clinton from becoming the president of the United States. I mean, let's say she goes down in flames, for example, face crook, use screw, and she can't even legally, as they tell us, fulfill the duties of the office. Then what happens? Does Kane fill the position before the election results have even taken place? I mean, there's so many anomalies right now. There's so many factors at play that it's kind of anybody's guess onto how exactly this is going to play out. All I know wholeheartedly, with 100% certainty, without a shadow of a doubt, is somebody very powerful is, for a reason, specifically interfering with the election. For a reason. And I think, and again, this is my humble opinion, something that I've said for over a year now, and I think the thesis still holds true today, and I actually think it's what we're going to get at the election results November 8th, that the election is going to tighten, it's going to narrow, it's going to come down to a gnat's ass. Donald Trump is the catharsis that the elites have co-opted for a reason. You know, why fight it? They just co-opt it. It's going to give the impression that Donald Trump had every chance of actually winning. But at the very last moment, they, of course, flip those tables, turn them the way of Hillary Clinton. The whole thing's rigged anyways, and Hillary gets into office. It also quells a lot of the civil unrest, potentially, that's coming here to the United States of America, and the anger that'll be hitting the streets, even more vitriol, of the army that's been built, the constitutional army that Donald Trump has spearheaded, this MAGA, Make America Great Again. And it's a way, as one of my producers had mentioned to me a few days ago, I'd like to give him credit, a way to publicly appease the general public. It's not going to stop the Civil War. It's not going to stop a very real secessionist movement here in the United States of America, which I think is coming. And I think people like Alex Jones, people like myself, Breitbart, others, conservative media drudge, will all be getting on that bandwagon as I hope not, but I think it's what's going to happen as we see the results unfold here November 8th, 2016. Been getting a lot of direct messages via Twitter. Again, please follow us on Twitter at AMTV Media. You click the link below right now. Also like us on Facebook. Those are other tremendous resources, things that we're utilizing. Again, we're going to use social media to the best of our ability as long as we can to fight this same system that, of course, is working against us. Now, there's another angle here that Hillary Clinton, this is how they're kind of deflecting, right? That misdirection or red herring, they're deflecting this all right now, is they keep trying to tie Donald Trump into this whole, he's a KGB officer type BS, and he's, a plant of Russia, and he's like got a direct link with Vladimir Putin or something. And James Carville, also a Hollywood actor, something I think, I would make note of, kind of goes off on MSNBC over the last day or so and actually says that the KGB is trying to affect democracy in this country. It's like a new witch hunt in America, right? Like you're a communist or something like that. I mean, this even went on back in the day of the Founding Fathers, where they tried to link his opponents, Alexander Hamilton, for example, to, well, he was like a plant of, the Queen at the time, and the Brits. that was like the original birther movement or something. I mean, the politics in a lot of ways haven't changed much, right? I mean, Hamilton, for example, was one of the first anonymous authors out there that he put out in the media, these reports, hitting out at his opponents, et cetera. I mean, we kind of have the same thing today, right? Anonymous, with all these leaks and the videos that they put out and all this, information, et cetera. So it's quite interesting. Let's play a brief clip of James Carville, just for a moment, trying to actually position Donald Trump, although we know this is a baseless untruth and a lie, like he's somehow linked to Russia. I mean, before we get to the video, they honestly need to get their story straight, right? Hillary Clinton says on one side of the coin that Donald Trump, well, he's like linked to Russian interests. And then on the other side, he's going to start World War III with Russia. Well, like, why would he do that? If he's working for the KGB in Russia, they don't want war. So he's not going to, press the red button and start a nuclear war. He's actually even said he wants diplomacy and all these things, something Hillary Clinton doesn't want. You see how they're two-faced? They're playing both sides. It's like, oh yeah, Trump's linked with the Russians. He's like KGB. But then on the other side, it makes no sense at all. It's not congruent information at all. He's somehow going to start World War III. Well, that makes no sense. You can't cut it both ways. It's either got to be one or the other, Hillary. It's just totally bogus. Let's go to a brief clip right now. James Carville losing his you-know-what in this MSNBC interview.
Joining me right now is Democratic strategist James Carville. He is a supporter of Hillary Clinton. Sir, it's good to have you with me, and I want to play back for everybody who may have just missed it what Hillary Clinton was saying on the stump about the very issue that seems to be grabbing all the headlines, this new batch of emails with Director Comey.
Why in the world the FBI would decide to jump into an election with no evidence of any wrongdoing with just days to go? That's a good question. And first of all, for those of you who are concerned about my using personal email, I understand, and as I've said, I'm not making excuses. I've said it was a mistake and I regret it, and now they apparently want to look at emails of one of my staffers, and by all means, they should look at them. And I am sure they will reach the same conclusion they did when they looked at my emails for the last year. There is no case here.
So, James, we wait for the FBI to give clearance on what Hillary Clinton is saying there. And Democrats, they've criticized Director Comey. But if he had sat on information until after this election and there was something there was really there, wouldn't he be accused of a cover-up?
But first of all, let's start again. He was acting in concert and coordination with the House Republicans. End of story. He gave the letter to him. They gave it to Fox News. Also, we have the extraordinary case of the KGB being involved in this race and selectively leaking things from the Clinton campaign that they hacked. So the American democracy is really under attack here. And the question is, how are we, and particularly how are Democrats going to respond to this? I mean, we have to understand this is really, really quite extraordinary. And it would seem to me that the FBI shouldn't be getting rolled by the House Republicans. And that's what happened here. There's nothing else that's going on. And at the meantime, we do know that our democracy is under assault by the KGB. I mean, to me, that's something we ought to be talking about. That's a very pertinent, relevant issue in this campaign. And people have to decide, do we want our country for ourselves, or the people in charge, or are we going to let the KGB and the House Republicans decide this election?
Meanwhile, you are correct that most American intelligence agencies do feel that the hacking that has been...
So it goes on and on and on. It's quite a long video. I'm not going to play the whole thing. James Carville, he really loses his you-know-what. He goes on this long rant. I mean, this is the same guy that does cameo appearances in the movie Old School, for example. You know, I tweeted out over the weekend. Again, please follow me on Twitter, for God's sakes. For God's sakes, follow me on Twitter. Click the link below right now. Follow at AMTV Media. I said something to the effect, not only did a wiener just take down Hillary Clinton, or is Hillary Clinton... Well, actually, let me read it to you. Let's go to that right now. Show you exactly what I wrote. There's been so many tweets coming out here in recent days. Something along the lines that about referring to Hillary Clinton being a criminal, if I can find it. Is it a right-wing conspiracy that Hillary is a criminal or just true? Right? I mean, this is just common sense, people. Like, she is a criminal. It's not a right-wing conspiracy. Donald Trump isn't linked into the KGB in Russia. In reality, he wants diplomacy. He doesn't want a war. And I think he respects Putin as a leader, as I think any good diplomat would. But it doesn't mean that he agrees with Putin. And it doesn't mean that he's not going to fight 110% for the interests of the United States government. Donald Trump is very smart. You know, part of me wants to see Donald Trump just get into the White House to see what he does to his enemies, his political enemies, all these people on CNN that just bash him all day long, all these Republicans that actually are voting Hillary Clinton. And I think he'll be ethical about it, of course. But, you know, something you'll learn about Donald Trump in his books, for example, if you've read any of them, he never forgets, ever. He never forgets who crosses him. And he will go after you. All of you. And they know. I think the people at CNN are even getting scared. You know, people in the media, these politicians, Mitt Romney, Jeb Bush, I mean, all these people. He's going to come after you guys, not just Hillary Clinton, if he gets in to the White House. He will never forget. And he's pretty vengeful in that way. I think he'll be ethical in how he approaches it. But just like the ladies that are falsely accusing him of groping and all this stuff, he's going after you. He's instigating lawsuits, etc. Like, he's kind of badass in that regard. He's a strong leader. These are good things. Again, it's a PC culture, it's a PC society that has festered into a disease in this country that's ruined America largely, in my opinion. I was talking about this last night. You know, people want this perfect society. They want America to be perfect. Well, there's no such thing as perfect. The country needs strong leadership. We need to uphold the principles of the constitutional republic. We need strength in the office at the highest law of the land, something that I don't think that we've had with Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, although I'm probably making a Freudian slip there, because if Hillary gets in, it's just a continuation of Barack Obama. It's no different. Again, folks, it is very, very weak leadership. And another reason Hillary Clinton is in her campaigns trying to spin all this stuff through digital media, for example, and Eric Schmidt at Google, et cetera, I've talked about this quite a bit. They're actually in charge of her entire digital distribution model. Just goes to show you, all the backing she gets from Wall Street, the criminal banksters, the criminal cartel that makes up the monopolies that are big technology. Today, they're really pumping right now this linkage to Russia, a false linkage, and also the nuclear war narrative that it's Donald Trump who's going to start nuclear war with countries like Russia. No, he's not. It's actually you, Hillary Clinton, that's going to start that war with a no-fly zone that you've telegraphed to the American public you would institute, potentially shoot down a Russian plane in Syria. That Russia, Vladimir, and his allies, countries like China, the BRICS nations, etc., have told us very plainly that there will be a war. Our generals here in the United States of America, 4-star generals, have said there's going to be a war if there's a no-fly zone instituted in Syria. World War III. We aired a video again on this just a couple of days ago. I encourage you to watch it. I think it's up to about 50,000, 60,000 views already. Kim.com, a very interesting figure, the founder of Mega Upload, who created basically a network so anybody could transfer large data files, and has since been incriminated by the United States government. His assets seized. He lives in New Zealand, actually one of the safe zones and safe spots in the event of a nuclear holocaust or World War type situation. Leaked this via Twitter. Another guy I would follow on Twitter who puts out a lot of good information. He said this recently. He says, I know, and this is somebody that would, where Hillary Clinton's deleted emails are. This is something I've said for quite a long time. And how to get them legally. And he tweets this out to Sean Hannity, Real Donald Trump, T. Gowdy, South Carolina, and asks you to retweet. Step 1, go to the NSA.gov. Step 2, contact Mike Rogers. Step 3, ask Mike to open X keyscore. Step 4, input this selector, HDR22, referring to Hillary Clinton, at clintonemail.com. Step 5, access all emails Clinton sent or received in the last 7 years. In places like Utah, on the cloud. They are all stored in the NSA spy cloud in Utah. Congress or Senate can request the emails from the NSA. He even put out a couple tweets here recently, and this is a guy extremely informed that does have access to this information, who is directly connected, linked to people like Julian Assange, etc., over at Wikileaks at the Ecuadorian embassy, although I'm still waiting for him to show his face. I've done countless videos on that conspiracy and cover-up. He's just basically told you they already have all the emails. Then he goes on, and this is even more recent, I believe within the last 24 hours, he says, this was yesterday, there's unpublished material yet to come out. Clinton is in serious trouble. It's important to pay attention to people like Kim.com because when they make a threat like that, they usually back it up. Just like Assange over at Wikileaks, when he makes a threat, he usually backs it up. And I think this entire reopening, Comey reopening this email investigation on Hillary Clinton, all it is a red herring to get ahead of the curve, to control and manipulate the narrative of what Kim.com is talking about right here. They want to get ahead of a massive new bombshell that could end Hillary Clinton for good. That is the October surprise, folks. We've gotten it. I also think if Hillary Clinton and her campaign has any extra dirt that they fabricated on Donald Trump, it'll be released, of course, in the coming days. Could be released as I'm even broadcasting this video. If they don't release anything else, it means they don't have anything on him. I mean, honestly, if all they could pull up on Donald Trump was a couple of these hot mic segments, he really doesn't have any dirt that they can dig up. I mean, think about that for a minute. I mean, we're able to dig up so much information on Hillary Clinton, 33,000 emails, et cetera, all this classified material. Now the laptop, Huma Abedin, her husband, the alleged lover of Hillary Clinton, by the way. It's very much an allegation that and a speculation that they are lesbian lovers. Hillary Clinton swings both ways, etc. We're expected to believe that suddenly 650,000 emails were found, even though they're already at the NSA. You know, it could be some good people, again, at the FBI. It is actually a real possibility that maybe it's the first time they've got access to the information because the NSA hasn't given it up. And Comey, for example, knows that it's about to be dropped and they're covering their ass, you know, CYA. That's also a very real possibility. I pulled up an article here. This was just kind of to add proof to the pudding. CNN, the Clinton News Network, says, what's next? FBI unlikely to conclude Clinton email review prior to the election. Folks, share this video. Get it out everywhere. Please watch, share, like, and favorite my video on the 5 possibilities of why Comey reopened the Hillary Clinton email investigation. I very much believe, in my humble opinion, this is a red herring. More damaging information is about to be dumped on Hillary Clinton, and they're trying to control and manipulate this narrative. Because we all know 99.9% of the people voting for Hillary Clinton, nothing changes. Just like Tyra Banks had said, I'm paraphrasing a little bit, who cares what you say? You're just a dumb model. So like, oh, we're tired of the emails. Can we just get past the emails? You don't even know what the evidence is, how serious it potentially is. But, I mean, that's how these people think on the radical left. They're going to vote for Hillary Clinton anyways. And again, if you haven't watched any of my previous videos and analysis and thesis of what I think is going to happen on November 8th and how this election is going to pan out, please do. Again, my theory has been for over a year now, my thesis that it comes down to an ass, last minute, it's rigged the direction of Hillary Clinton for all the reasons that I just described. Get out and vote, people. Exercise your constitutional right. Vote Trump 2016. MAGA, make America great again. Not the maggot that makes up Hillary Clinton. We are going to go to a brief break, and then we're going to re-air again. I've got another video coming right after this. Please share this one everywhere. Get it out, make it viral, hard-hitting in your face. I'm Christopher Green. Again, please support us. Price of a cup of coffee, $4.95 a month, $49.95 a year. You support us. Alternatively, I'll be talking about when we come back, Putin being framed by the UN, the United Nations, for war crimes in Syria as a precursor to World War III. This was put out in our breaking documentary, mini-doc, that we put out over the weekend. World War III is on the horizon. I'm not sure you caught the most damaging information. Right now, as I speak, behind closed doors, the UN, the United Nations, just a puppet of Western interests, is looking for ammunition against Vladimir Putin, a total untruth and baseless lie, so that they can start a massive, massive world war. Get it out. I'll be right back. Click the link below. Like, favorite, share this video. Please subscribe on demand and follow me on Twitter. Come on, guys. Follow me on Twitter. Click the link below at AMTV Media. We'll be right back. Peace.